have done more tonight with more goals?
Yeah, we had a lot of chances, but I'm happy we win, and that's the most important thing. Anything else, don't think, just try to win.
Are we at this stage now at the business end of the season where it is just about winning? Performance comes second?
One more time, sorry, I didn't...
The result is more important than the performance, because the levels, they weren't as strong as we saw at the weekend from you guys against Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's all about winning, no matter how. We try to play our football and just try to win. That's what you have to have in your mindset, and now focus on Saturday.
And it also shows, I think, a team against Burnley when probably many were expecting more goals to be scored here tonight, how difficult a title challenge it is for you.
Don't think about other goals, think about winning, as I said now 3 times.
What about going into the weekend then? Huge weekend as well with an FA Cup semi-final. It could be a really strong month for you, April, couldn't it?
It can, it's been good so far, so keep going, try to win now on Saturday, and then Everton.
And you keep that mood going as well in the dressing room, because I imagine it 1-0 scoreline here.
1-0 is amazing, I'm super happy. I don't know why you keep on asking me that. I'm super happy, we win, we get 3 points. And as they sing, we are top of the league, so be happy.
They did not stop singing tonight, and tonight, player of the match again, Erling. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, thank you.
So the win was the most important.
We've established that.
And you can understand that point of view, but you can also understand the question about the goals. And actually, that's what we could be left with over the next 4.5 weeks.
Yeah, exactly that. I think there's a leading fact that obviously the wins are most important. But if you look at the fixtures, because we're looking at taking a deeper dive into it, you're thinking Burnley, the situation they're in, could you score 3, 4 or 5? It wasn't meant to be. They had the chances, didn't take the chances. But Burnley was probably a little bit better than they thought. I thought they defended quite well in certain areas, and then on that transition, they was very good as well. But Man City will be kicking themselves. Obviously, they're going to say to us that the wins are most important, but the goal difference, especially when it's going to potentially could go to that, they'll be kicking themselves.
Yeah, but the first thing you have to do is win.
Yeah, absolutely. The big quick turnaround, the intensity of it, almost unchanged 11, 8 Nori coming in.
Do you think that? Do you actually think?
I think it was never to be one to question Guardiola's team selection. He's always absolutely spot on, but I thought that he had no other choice than to play the same 11 because of how, apart from 8 Nori coming in, because of how good they've been over the last few games. I think they've been outstanding. The connections in the team are forming very nicely, and I think the freedom within the team, the balance within the team, absolutely. This was an integral game tonight in terms of their quest to win the title, and they got the job done, the points, but like Micah said, they'll be kicking themselves. There's so many opportunities in the first half. Yeah, I thought Dubravka was excellent. I thought he was absolutely excellent. I also thought Burnley were excellent. I think, their fans gave them, rightly so, a really big applause at the end because they could see the mentality, the resilience, and they're probably asking themselves, where's that been all season?
More reactions come here at Turf Moor. Burnley relegated, Manchester City top at the table. Leeds, ahead of their cup semi-final weekend, have got a 7th-minute stoppage time equaliser at Bournemouth. Sean Longstaff with that goal. Bournemouth thought they had nicked the win 4 minutes from time. Leeds get the point on the South Coast, and it takes them to the 40-point mark, and they are now 9 points clear of the bottom 3. And that means Bournemouth did miss the chance to go into 6th ahead of Brighton, but they do go up to 7th. And Chelsea, who this evening have sacked Liam Rosenior, drop down a place to 8th. Manchester City on top of the table, the goal difference exactly the same as Arsenal's. City have scored 3 more. Level on points with Arsenal, level on goal difference with Arsenal, but ahead of them on goals scored. Do you agree with Izzy, as we were talking about before the break, how much the weekend may have taken it out of them?
Yeah, maybe. I think maybe just psychologically as well. You're going into that game, they know they must win to set up this game essentially today. Man City had it's so strange that Man City have won the game 1-0. And we're disappointed it's only 1-0. But obviously you've got to take the whole context into consideration. Burnley, where they're at, it could go down to goal difference at the end of the season. and the chances that Man City created, especially in that first half. So, yeah, it was just a strange game all round, but coming into here thinking Man City are going to score more goals than
I suppose you can't go into every game now thinking about goal difference, can you? I mean, and that was Erling Haaland's point, I suppose, with Juliet was you've got to do the bottom line of winning. Who knows where one of them may stumble between now and the end of the season? So you can't become fixated on goal difference, can you?
No, you can't. And I don't think City came across that way today, either in the way they played. I think Burnley did what we expected Burnley to do, which was to sit back deep, lie low, defend well, compact, organised, all of the things which Manchester City are great at playing against, but it's just a densely populated area inside the box that you have to find that killer pass through the eye of a needle in order to create that opening, and those were sort of few and far between. Man City did have chances, especially in the first half, where they maybe could have, put those goals on the board earlier. But I think the process, the way that Arsenal play as well, is very process driven. They're very strong on set pieces, as we know, very strong in the final third in terms of the players they've got. Yeah, okay, of late, probably struggling to find those connections, but it's not going to change now. It might come down to goal difference. Both managers will set the team up exactly the same, tweaks here and there for certain types of games, different opposition, but fundamentally both teams have got this far doing what they do so well. So we're all strapped in, ready for what this running will look like.
In terms of what you just said there, the goal difference, you can't go into the game thinking about goal. You can't even go into the game thinking about the fixtures anymore, because we all expected this to be 4 or 5. Anyone watching this in Burnley, the position that they're in, and that wasn't to be. And everyone could go through it and say, oh, Arsenal's fixtures are a little bit easier, and Man City's. But no one's taking into consideration the pressure, the psychological battle that goes within.
Are you telling me when you were in the title race that you were in?
Yeah. I couldn't sleep at night.
Okay.
Going into the last 6 games of the season,
why couldn't you?
It's a different psychological. So you've got winners. So, and I mentioned this before, when you've got someone like Sergio Aguero or a David Silva or a Vincent Kompany, they're destined for great things because of the players, and that's not just because of what they did at City beforehand. Their careers demanded that. For someone who come through the academy, it was a little bit different. So I'm always thinking, I don't want to be the guy to let them down. Yes, I know I had ability and I deserved to be there, but my mindset was a little bit different. So coming into these, why I always said, if Man City in the Arsenal game can stay within 3 points and then come into this game like they have tonight and make it equal, I believe Man City will win because of the psychological battle, because they have leaders and they have experience going into it. And I had to draw off the sort of top players within my squad who have won things before, that I could rely on them. And when I look at Arsenal, they've got great players, great talents, but I'm looking at who can they turn to in terms when you need to get through that. And I looked at Arsenal all week and I'm thinking, who's going to turn up for them? And they had the chances and big chances, and that's where you need your big players to turn up, and that's what Man City seem to do more often than not.
But if I follow your train of thought then, and not wanting to let down the leaders or the experienced players, this squad I suppose is slightly different, but it has got a lot of newish players in there who haven't won a title yet. So will they, and the Arsenal team obviously have got a different kind of pressure. If you were in this City team now with some title winners but you weren't a title winner, would you have that same feeling of not wanting to let people down?
Yeah, I would have that same feeling, definitely. But opening it out, look at the manager. Arteta's won FA Cup, Pep's won multiple leagues, Champions Leagues, whatever. So you've got that experience from the manager as well. You can have that, you can draw on that experience. So that's why it's favourites. It's not whether Arsenal are a fantastic team. And we've talked about Arsenal so much. And when you did the graphic before the game and how many games they've been top.
The days that they've been top.
Yeah, because they're a fantastic team. But it takes more than just being a fantastic team to win the league.
The psychology in it's changed, because up till now, Manchester City have been chasing Arsenal.
Correct.
But now they're level. That will be interesting to see how Manchester City are now going to adapt or keep things exactly the same, because Arsenal might actually want to switch into a position where they're chasing. Because it might twist the mentality for them, and it might be exactly what they need in terms of finding that extra piece of motivation, which, don't get me wrong, you don't need to be motivated to be in this situation. It should be an innate thing as an athlete, as a footballer, in this situation, title races. But it's amazing how the ebbs and flows of the way the season's panned out, and now we're at a point where they're now level. Am I right in saying they've got exactly the same form as well? The amount of games won, the amount of games drawn, the amount of games lost. It couldn't be more identical. So where we're at now, the psychology has now shifted. Man City had to jump over a huge barrier at the weekend to beat Arsenal. Huge. And now they've had to jump over a barrier today, beat Burnley, get the job done. But now it's shifted. The table's the same.
Let's hear from the Manchester City manager. Pep Guardiola is with Juliet.
Pep, there was a lot of talk before this game about how many goals you could possibly score here at Turf Moor tonight, but was that an example of how hard, as you know, a title challenge can be?
For the way we played, or for the goals we didn't score?
The goals.
Yeah, but the chances were there. We create a lot, make a fantastic game. Yeah, we did everything after a demanding game 3 days ago. So it's yeah, it was demanding. It's always easy, but we play a really good game where we miss some goals.
I can see you looking at some of the replays that are going on in the television screen in here. We could see your frustration, though, in the second half, early in the second half. Maybe, was there a dip in performance from the levels? You talked about the demanding performance against Arsenal on Sunday. Did you feel?
No, there's no frustration. How should be frustration? We won 3 points. We are right now top of the league. The frustration exists. So of course we can do better and score goals. But the guys did absolutely everything. We were brilliant in many things. We just don't score. So everything is difficult. Nothing is for granted. And we were there and we did it really well.
Was there a change, though? Was it so demanding, the performance against Arsenal, that perhaps the levels weren't as strong as they were on Sunday, even though you got those 3 points?
I completely disagree.
Why do you disagree?
Because we make a better performance in terms of chances than last Sunday. Of course, the opponent from Arsenal is extraordinary, we know that. But the performance itself was really, really good.
And the mood, we can hear the music coming out of the away dressing room. You're top of the Premier League. How does that feeling now, going into the rest of the season? Is it still going to be as tight as it looks at the top of that table? 5 games,
it's a Premier League for 5 games. So this is the reality. 5 games, and now we have a semi-final, really tough on Saturday. And that you have time and time to prepare the next games.
And that's just it, isn't it? It could be such a strong finish to this month for you, going into this final month of the Premier League season, and with an FA Cup final you could possibly be in as well.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity to play, I think, 4 finals in a row, and we're going to play. We'll see how tired. Maybe you have to make some changes, because otherwise it has been, a lot of minutes for players. And at the end it was a little bit tired, but yeah, we are ready.
I saw you celebrating in front of the supporters. I mean, they sang through every Manchester City song tonight out of the songbook, didn't they? They were incredible.
Yeah, it's 1 hour away from I would say from Manchester, so it's not. Thank you for the fans. Always, our away fans always have been extraordinary. So no doubts about that. So the game was really well played, really well played in many things. Of course, we could have scored more, but we take it. So we take it.
Just one last one on Rodri. I saw he was here, in and amongst the team as well, as you probably would expect him to be. What is the situation with him? How long are you expecting him to be out for?
I don't know yet. So we'll see day by day, we'll see.
Thoughts?
Obviously he's going to, after the interview, he's going to say what he wants. But you can tell his frustration. We all got the pictures here that we can all see for ourselves. I think that's a masterclass in giving an interview, though, because we talked about Rafinha earlier on, and maybe how he was in interviews.
I love Nathan Atko's face here, thinking, of all the seats you could have sat next to for this rant, you guys.
Marmouche is getting up.
He's not even been sent out to warm up.
He's gonna have a warm up.
Nathan Atko's thinking, I'll just keep nodding, I'll keep agreeing until he moves on. Anyhow, go on, Micah. Sorry.
No, I think he's obviously we want more from him in the interview, and Julian Ferrington there was asking him really how we saw the game, his reaction. We saw his reaction there, but he didn't give you nothing. He said we played well. We all know, by his standards, he wanted 4, 5 or 6, but that wasn't the case. But he comes to the media and says, no, we played great, we created chances, which he did do.
Yeah, but if he doesn't say that, we all jump, like we, as in the media, we all jump on it. We'd be having massive discussions about it now. It'd be followed up in the press.
Exactly.
We'd all jump on it. So he's got to play the straight back.
100%, and that's why he's a master at it, and that's why he's been a manager so long, because he says one thing to the players and one thing to us, and he means it. He's passionate, and you can see him on the sideline, but ultimately, he doesn't want to give a line to us, and we've got to sort of analyse around it, haven't we?
He has to squash it. He has to. It's his job, and he does it so well. And I think when they were supposedly out of the title race a couple of months ago, he was still the same. And that's what I love about the way he's acting in this situation. He's the same, and he's emotional on the touchline. And we've just seen those pictures there. He was the same against Arsenal. He'll be the same on Saturday against Southampton in the FA Cup. It's just who he is.
But you've got that experience of being a coach. What are you like? Do you say one thing's to you, or are you emotional? Because these are all good things. And we talked about Liam Rossini beforehand, and I was a little bit critical of how he was in the media. But sometimes, if you look at that interview with Pep, that is a perfect way to just shut everything down. We played well, we move on, go to Southampton, semi-final, let's see what we can do there. How do you approach it?
I think you nailed it before, because you said you say one thing to the media, you say one thing to the players. And that's the best way to be, because what goes on in your house stays in your house, and the way you operate, the way that, some coaches you hear, you read things, you operate on the basis that nothing gets out, nothing gets in. And that way you don't let anything from the outside affect you. And some people would say things have affected Arsenal. And you spoke about the power of social media in a negative way at the start of the game around Liam Rossini. And it is a very toxic place to be. You do see things get taken way out of hand. Sure. And I think that's part of the manager's job these days, is to completely crush things that get circulated online, because it's all rubbish. But they have to put on, like you said, a straight bat. They have to be really professional, really clear, and really precise with what they say, because ultimately they're the face of the club when they have to speak post game 2-3 times a week.
Let's show you the only goal of the game. Gary said it in commentary, actually, Micah, that this was the kind of goal that Erling Haaland was scoring an awful lot when he was at Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, well, he wants that space to run in, and it was actually a great goal. Not only was it a great finish by Haaland, but it's the approach play, the setup play, the way Burnley tried to press, and now they've got that space, and the lovely little touch there from Doku, and then he wants to. And if we had that space in the Premier League every week, he would score 40, 50 goals in the Premier League, but he doesn't, and teams have to adapt to, that, because he's a machine once he's in flow.
To front in 16 seconds and 6 passes, is it?
Yeah, and the irony in it is that Burnley, that was probably the only mistake Burnley made the whole game, was to jump and be high and give them the space. But they had the chances, and that was obviously the goal. But then these are the moments. This was earlier on. Again, Burnley still getting players in the box, but they managed to pick out Cherki in this situation. And we've put Cherki on a pedestal, and he should.
That's a great save.
It's an unbelievable save, but Cherki, in the form he's in, that has to hit the back of the net.
That Cherki chance was when it was still 0-0. After that, City's chances in the main didn't really test Dubravka, did they?
No, I would say it's because of this. Look at the low block that Burnley are in, and Izzy's completely right earlier when she said it was a good performance from him. If Burnley would have played like this from the start of the season, they would have been a lot better, because on the transition it was very good. But look at the numbers they've got in the box. When they was jumping in, it was at the right time. It's going to take something special. People throwing, Dubravka was excellent, but it's almost like they turned up and they wanted it. They wanted it today, Burnley, and it was going to take something absolutely special for Man City to score a second. And Cherki was trying, Bernardo Silva was trying, here from Gonzalez, just wide of the post. And then the chances.
This is the best of the lot, wasn't it? This is O'Reilly late on. Just tries to be almost too casual. I think he didn't want to be emotional in that moment. He just didn't catch it right. And again, Dubravka probably his easiest save of the night.
They're the remaining fixtures, which we are going over ad nauseum at the moment. But let me, and as we leave that there, let me put this point to you. Somebody made this comparison to me with Rory McIlroy at the Masters a year ago, right? When he blew a lead, ended up in a playoff, and his caddy said to him as they went down the fairway to the tee to start the playoff, if you'd been offered this at the start of the week, you'd have taken it. If you'd said to Arsenal fans, with 5 games to go, you'd be level on points with Manchester City, level on goal difference with Manchester City, it's only on goals scored, would they have taken it?
100%.
Exactly.
And
So
in,
that's the
and
mindset.
in a Champions League semi-final.
Yeah.
It's absolutely you would, but I think that again we come back to the hype and the situation, the expectation, but the reality of where Arsenal are at right now is outstanding.
So what it actually then boils down to is can everybody connect to reset their mindset to go, we'd have taken this?
I think everybody's taken a push of the reset button after these two sides went head to head on Sunday, because the emotion and the intensity building up to that game, for the outcome to have happened 2-1 Manchester City, I feel like now we're going into almost a mini season where these two sides with these sets of fixtures, they're gonna be waiting for each other to slip up.
And people say Everton away and Bournemouth away could be City's 2 most difficult fixtures left. Before they go to Everton away, Arsenal have 2 Premier League games. They have Newcastle at home this weekend when City are in FA Cup action, and then Fulham at home before City play Everton. They could be 6 points clear again before City next play.
Yeah, and that could give them a boost. But if you look at the Champions League semi-final, you would expect Arsenal, with the form they showed this season, to beat Newcastle and to beat Fulham. It's what the Atletico Madrid game takes out of them, because I believe they can beat them. Have they got enough grit and determination to win all of those games? They've got the quality, and I feel as though when we talk about Arsenal, it's they've bottled it. All this against social media, they've not bottled it. It's just they open the door for Man City. It's still in their hands. They can do it. It's just what those games in the Champions League take out of them, because against Atletico Madrid and Simeone, they're going to grind them down.
Yeah, they are, and it's funny because we spoke about the game tonight, Manchester City. They didn't put in the performance, but they got the result.
Correct.
Arsenal at the weekend put in a performance, but didn't get the result.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by the twist of it. But if you're Arsenal, off the back of that City game, as soon as you get over the result and you put it to bed, and the fact that the way that they played, they've teed themselves up to finish the season strongly. I thought they were outstanding in terms of the performance. They hit the post twice. Yes, Manchester City hit the post as well, but they created chances against one of Europe's top sides, and I think that they can take great confidence from that. But obviously the headlines will be that, you know, Arsenal are slipping up. Well, they're not. They're still right in it, and the league table tells you that.
So would you expect them? I don't like asking you questions. I don't like asking you questions that could then be replayed over and over, making you look daft.
But you're still going to ask
Yes, I am, Iceland.
Of course you are.
Would you expect, even though what you said about the Champions League and everything, would you expect Arsenal to be 6 clear by the time City next play?
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, you would.
I would. I would. Yeah, I would, because they've got. They lost in the League Cup final. Obviously, that was a blow. And the reason why I say that, because, and we was having a debate at the weekend with Roy, and he was saying, well, they lost. They put in a good performance, but they lost. But you can take something from a performance. They've been very good in a low block, and there was better pressing. Havertz is back. Gyökeres is back. They need to get Saka back. Moreno's a big miss for them. Timber's a big miss for them. But if you look at the game on the whole, Man City were wobbling for a little bit. Arsenal have big chances. It's just about taking. Football's all about moments, as we know. They need to take the moments when they get them, and if they do that, there'll be 6 points clear.
Okay. The other side of tonight's story is that Burnley have been relegated. They'll be back in the Championship next season. That man there, when he came off the pitch, spoke with Juliet Farrington. Here's Kyle Walker.
Kyle, was that a bittersweet night tonight with the performance that you put in, but obviously you know the outcome in terms of the Premier League?
No, it was a disappointing evening for Burnley Football Club. I'm an employee of Burnley Football Club, and I'll do my best for the shirt to make sure that we got a result. Unfortunately, now we are relegated, and we have to, like I've just said in there, we have to play the remainder of the games, but we need to play the remainder of the games with that level of performance, because that's probably what we needed in that patch where we didn't pick up the victories that we needed or the points that we needed on the board, which made it an uphill battle for us come to this point now.
And that's the sweet part of the bittersweet, isn't it? The fact that performance tonight showed what you could have done, and you this season.
Yeah, of course, but it's no point showing it on the last game when you need a result against Manchester City. They're chasing the title. We needed to do it before, but that's no, discredit to the lads, because I've seen them train. I've been there training. I've run every blade of grass with them, and they have been, fantastic this season. Their attitude and everything. When we're getting knocked down and we keep getting knocked down, they keep getting up and they keep turning up and playing. Not always to our best of our ability, but we're doing what we can do. I think just sometimes in this league you need to take your chances when the chances come, and you need to defend the goal like your life depends on it, and we've probably fell short on both of them areas come any part of the season.
And tonight, when Erling so early on put Manchester City ahead, but then after that you were creating those chances, weren't you? You had 2 or 3 really, really good chances, and also in the second half as well. Yeah, and I feel that's the slight difference when you're talking about teams that are coming up to teams that are fighting for the league, that they get one chance to finish it, they get another chance, they might not finish it, but the next one they're going to finish it. And I feel if we would have put one of them away, it could have been a different game. But it's football, and you have to learn from these occasions. You have to learn from this experience of being in the Premier League, and hopefully now next season we come back to the drawing board and bounce straight back up. And talking about next season, it's how you finish now this season, isn't it, to take into the new season. And just talking to the players, as I have done a lot this season, done tonight too, there is a real togetherness, there is a real spirit. There's absolutely no split whatsoever, is there?
No, definitely not. And like I've just said in there, what this club means to this town is incredible. You would not know. I drive through it every day, and you see a Burnley shirt whenever you're driving into training, and it means a lot to them. So from us to them, thank you for every bit of support that you've made for us this season, and hopefully we can do you proud come next season and get straight back up into the big league, which I feel that this club should be.
And Scott Parker does have a reputation of getting clubs back into the Premier League, doesn't he?
Well, hopefully keep that reputation, because we're going to need it. We're going to need everyone. Not just the players and the staff. It's the fans. As you can tell from my voice, I'm very disappointed. It's a bit emotional because I came here with a dream to keep this club up. I've achieved a lot, personally in my life, in football, but this would have been right up there. As much as it wouldn't have been a title or anything like that, but it would have been something very special to keep this club up. But hopefully we can come back and do it again.
And what else have you said in that dressing room right now?
This is what can you say? What can you say? This is people's dreams that have, now come to an end in the Premier League. But they need to take this and bottle it up and use that fire to make sure that we're back here next season. That's the main objective now. We need to respect the Premier League and play the last number of games and do it like we did tonight. But also we need to bottle this emotion up that we've got with us, and come pre-season use that to make sure that we're back here come a year later.
Confirmation of Burnley's relegation when we show you the bottom half of the table. Leeds getting a point at Bournemouth tonight, so they're now 9 points clear of Spurs. It's been such a